Now take a look. You can see the asshole with the dumbbell in his hand, and then Wes is pulling his ponytail. And then the biggest pussy of them all, this fat pig, he throws a kick to make it look like he did something, the piece of shit.
What's good, YouTube? Today we're going to be reacting to Alpha Male is now desperate after destroying his life.
This self-proclaimed alpha male is now desperate after destroying his life. Essentially, he's trying every trick in the book to avoid getting exposed and possibly locked up again, but things aren't looking that good for him, and it seems like he's trying to sell whatever he can. And his civil case, he's stalling. Criminal case, delaying that too. Divorce case, yeah, that thing's dragging on longer than his motivational speeches.
It's because my childhood trauma. Shut up! Get to work!
And he's still spiraling on Instagram like a knockoff Andrew Tate with anger problems. But if you've never heard of
It's the roid rage, bruh. It's all that stuff he be injecting in himself. That's why he's always angry.
Wes Watson, congratulations for having some peace in your life.
I'm Wes Watson. Everybody knows who I am.
The dude's a former prison inmate who rebranded himself as a life coach by screaming at people from the front seat of a Rolls Royce. His entire brand is based on being a real tough guy and telling you that you have to take so much personal responsibility that you get sick of it. And now, ironically, the one person who refuses to take any personal responsibility is himself. And Wes co-owns that gym, but apparently treats it like a Fight Club edition, because here's what allegedly happened. Hakeem says that Wes was challenging people to fights via Instagram DMs, and Wes dared him to show up to the gym. When he did, Watson and his crew allegedly jumped him. We're talking about punching, dragging, hair pulling, literally WWE minus the costumes.
I came up to him and he said he wanted to fight me. I came to the gym and they jumped me. Like,
bro, I can see how swollen his face is even through the blur.
two of the guys they're hitting me with a weight, and then he hit with a weighted belt.
Isn't that like attempted? It's an attempted, bro.
Did you get anywhere? Did you physically make contact with him, or did he?
No, I didn't do it.
Are you sure? Because there's cameras and everything.
They literally attacked me. They hit me first.
And the gym footage shows Watson with a weighted belt, 3 other guys, and a man getting repeatedly attacked while pinned to the floor. Wes claims that all of this was self-defense, and the footage kind of says otherwise. But first, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Incogni. So look, at this point, if it's any skin, it will go out done any online shop, essentially giving it a perpetual quest line. Are the information from every single one a takedown, but that's where it's or your family, as they just have introduced about a year and a half now, 543 hours. So without further ado, let's continue the video. Miami police, they sided with the victim and arrested Watson on April 9th for aggravated assault and battery. The battery charge got dropped, but the assault case, that's still alive, and so are the civil suit and Watson's very public meltdown. So since then, Watson has done what any self-proclaimed alpha male would ever do. He's whined about it on Instagram a whole bunch. He also managed to completely ignore the civil lawsuit that followed, where Hakeem sued him for physical, emotional, and financial damages.
Good.
Watson then got served with a suit, did absolutely nothing about it, and as a
Sue him for all he's worth.
result, the court issued a default judgment, which basically means, yeah, congratulations, you automatically lost. So I mean, that would be a massive wake-up call for essentially anyone, but not for Wes Watson. He's the self-proclaimed alpha male here. So instead of, you know, locking in legally and getting that sorted, he went to his new Instagram account because his old one was deleted, and he complained about getting his old Instagram account deleted and about his height, you know, because he has the best priorities in the world, apparently.
Lames out there who try to silence a real message don't want to happen, but we'll just always work around it. So that's what you guys got to realize. You guys got to realize that there is always a way around everything.
And then came the racism scandal, because he
It seems like this guy's always stressed out, bro. Like literally every time I see him, his head is just so red, bro. All those lies and then, you know, the stress and the evil stuff he's done just collects on his head.
allegedly DM'd the UFC fighter Kevin Holland, calling him a toad, which, as it turns out, is prison slang for a black inmate. And I guess he also, on top of that, offered him a KFC gift card. So not only is he a self-proclaimed alpha male, but he is also a self-proclaimed funny man. This is just not something an extremely successful individual will do with their time, but who knows? Maybe that's all charade as well. It kind of seems like it. Because basically, this guy is doing everything except focus on the case against him. So now that the pressure's on,
No, literally, I feel like the only thing this guy has going for himself is the dimwits who fall for the act that he's putting up. Like, what's so appealing about this bald-headed dude just yelling at you, giving you motivation? Y'all need to have some discipline about yourselves.
Wes is essentially doing what all the alleged frauds eventually do. They delay everything and pray the truth just doesn't catch up to them. So, according to John Bravo, Wes's legal team, they've filed a motion to stay in the civil case. That is lawyer speak for, can we pause this for a second while we sort out this criminal case over here? Thank you. So here's John Bravo's lawyer talking about that here.
So Wes's legal team filed a motion to stay in the civil case. Now, what does that mean? Essentially, what they're asking the judge to do is pause the civil case until the criminal trial finishes. You might be asking why? Why would a court ever do that? It's actually standard procedure because of the Fifth Amendment. Wes is looking at a felony battery charge in criminal court. His lawyers argue that making him answer questions in the civil case would force him to testify about the same events that could land him in prison. So in the civil case,
Honestly, that's where he belongs. Because he's outside acting like a prisoner, so you might as well just send him back.
the victim side sends what's known as interrogatories. These are questions that he has to answer under oath. And these questions, of course, can open him up to much worse punishment in the criminal case. So in order for him to be able to effectively invoke his Fifth Amendment, he's saying, I can't answer these questions right now.
So answering questions in a civil case would force him to actually talk about the same events that could get him convicted in the criminal case. So, you know, like admitting to beating up someone on video. The move is legal and not unusual, but in Watson's case, it feels like another example of him running from the consequences of his own actions. And he's not just running from this case, he's also dragging out a divorce that's been going on for 4 years. Why? My guess is, if that case goes public, so does his finances. And that would be probably one of the first times that we kind of get the curtain pulled back on the finances of one of those alpha male gurus. Because, I mean, it is really hard to keep selling courses on the narrative that you're making millions of dollars a month when your divorce filings say otherwise. And that'll just continue to mess up Wes's brand because, you know, his business is offering people coaching classes on how to be more like him. And I mean, I don't know about
it's done in the dark, it's gonna come to the light.
You guys, but I won't be buying any courses anytime soon from a dude sitting in a Bugatti saying like, hey guys, if you just pay me thousands of dollars, I too will teach you how to drive a Bugatti one day. Because, you know, they all come across as grifters. It's just too vague information. I can't mindset my way into a Bugatti. That's just completely unrealistic. But I guess what he does...
I genuinely wonder, like, the people who buy these courses, do they not ever, like, think, oh, how about, like, all the other, you know, millions and millions of rich people? How come they never did this? Like, how come they never, oh, let me sell you a course on how I got wealthy? Bro, you guys are the method.
Is if you just sell enough courses, you too might own a Bugatti one day, at least temporarily, because we'll get into that as well. Because John Bravo also did a deep dive into the VIN number of Wes's car he likes to show off, the Bugatti. And a Miami dealer actually listed a red Bugatti with a very specific VIN number. That same VIN also belongs to Wes's orange Bugatti. That's not supposed to happen. You can't have two cars with the same VIN number because that's like, it's like your social security number, but for a car.
So I'm one of 60 that own a car like this on the planet.
All right, so let's take a look here. You guys see this red Bugatti? It's in Miami, 5,300 miles, right? If you guys take a look here, all right.
No way! Imagine this guy just like drives it up the highway and then he has to return it back to his parking lot because he can't up the mileage. Oh my God, this is such a fraud, bro.
Show you some more pictures. Well, look here at that VIN number. You see how it ends in 5050? Well, let me show you something. You see this right here, this Carfax? This is Wes's, also 2023 Bugatti. VIN number ends in 5050. But notice something. When you're looking here, right? Look at the color. Orange, because that's Wes's orange piece, right? It's not red like that ad shows, right? And then also look, it's registered with that VIN number, shows orange. So when you're looking at it, right, you're like, how could there be two Bugattis, right, with the same VIN number, but different colors?
And it gets so much worse because guess what? When Bravo actually called the dealer to ask what was going on here, the dealer literally admitted on tape that Wes told them to use his VIN on a red car to bait buyers because he didn't want his actual orange Bugatti to be shown online. Why, you may ask? Well, apparently because it would immediately be linked back to him. But unfortunately for him, it did either way.
The owner of this orange Bugatti is a very, very private person. He doesn't like his business out there like that. So what he told us to do is, since we have that red one, he's just like, put my VIN on that red one, and if someone calls, offer them my orange one. But he doesn't want us actively listing his color, so he rather just see if anyone would be interested in his color, if anyone called for a Bugatti in general. But on the internet, he rather not have his specific color listed, because there's only like 3 or 4 people in the whole world with that color.
Okay, so let that sink in. This man is photoshopping the color of a multi-million-dollar car to protect his Instagram clout. This dude is so insecure that he would rather confuse the Carfax system than have anyone think he's selling his Bugatti. To really sell the act, he's still posting daily like he's driving this Bugatti, tagging it, flashing the keys, all while quietly trying to dump it in secret. Imagine being so terrified of looking broke that you allegedly pull a VIN number shell game with a $5 million supercar. This isn't just like financial desperation, it's full-on luxury cosplay. At this point, if all of this is true, he's a complete lark. And it's
I can't lie though, like, yeah, it's crazy, but he's also kind of genius, bro. To be able to fool people to this extent, man, you gotta be a little bit intelligent, bro. I gotta admit it.
What you would expect from a guy whose entire brand is built on yelling, "I'm not broke," into a ring light while filing motions to stay out of court. So now he's stalling the criminal case, pausing the civil case, and trying to settle the divorce privately. And he's doing all of this while flexing watches and steering wheel emblems on Instagram like he's a 2017 SoundCloud rapper. But hey, there's a plea hearing at the end of August, and it'll probably be a not guilty plea, because if he pleads guilty, he's going back to prison. And we know he does not want to go back to prison, like any of us here. Who wants to go there? But that's exactly why you allegedly don't invite someone to your gym to beat them up. It just doesn't sound like a great idea. But either way, we're now looking at a timeline where his criminal case gets delayed, his civil case gets frozen, his divorce stays buried, and his entire online persona keeps unraveling every time he opens up his mouth. Oh, and if the courts don't pause the civil case, Wes, he could be forced to either break Fifth Amendment or incriminate himself trying to defend his ego. Either way, the dude loses. And I guess this is just what happens when someone builds an entire empire screaming at people to take some accountability for their own lives, but just refuse to take any accountability themselves. So I guess Wes is currently just hitting that trifecta of legal disaster, financial exposure, and public self-destruction, all while filming it for everyone to see online. And look, I'm not rooting for anyone to go to prison, but I am rooting for the truth to come out. But shout out John Bravo for his
You know, the only thing that sucks out of this situation is the guy that got beat up. If it turns out that Wes Watson has no money, where is he gonna get compensated from, bruh? Because I know he's probably gonna win that case. But if the dude is broke, I don't know. He's probably not gonna get paid. So he may have just gotten beaten up for nothing.